Let's launch Bluebeam Revu. Our document is open. It's a PDF file, a random PDF from my PC. This is an administration block. We shall use it for demonstration purposes to demonstrate the material takeoffs using Bluebeam. Before we proceed, we need to calibrate the document to ensure that it's up to scale. In order to do that, we have to go to the measurement menu and then choose calibrate. Close this. Zoom in to an area with known dimensions. Here we have 3.2 meters. So we'll click the first calibration point and then the next calibration point. You can hold shift to ensure that it is perfectly horizontal. Then click, then change here, change the intended dimensions. The intended dimensions is in millimeters. This is 3.2. Then I click to apply scale. Now when you apply the scale, you need to check to ensure that the document scale is working right. To do that, we'll go to measurement tool, click the first point and then click the second point. We can change the precision. If you change the precision, you'll see that we have it at 3.2 meters. You can even change to 1 so that you have it exactly at 3.2 meters. But we'll work with that 0.1. So if we're done with calibrating the document, we can delete that and start our material takeoffs. We shall use the poly length tool. The poly length tool will change its properties a bit. The depth, will have it at 2770. That is the length of the wall minus the ring beam. If the wall is a 3-meter wall minus the ring beam of 9 inches, we have 277. Then we change this is already in millimeters, that is fine, and change the size here to say 5, the size of the font. Then you can start. Let's click our first point. The second point, the third point, the last point you can double click. We're leaving out the doors because the door we shall use another tool. We shall duplicate this current tool and take out the area, subtract out the area taken by the door. So when we zoom out a bit and exit the polylength tool, we can go to it and edit its properties. We can change the subject name to, let's say, wall length, and the label to walls. When you look into the document, you see those changes are being reflected. Now in this document, you can choose to move any information by holding on shift and clicking on the dimensions and dragging. So now we have the wall, the overall length of the wall. This is 6.764 millimeters, and then the individual length of the individual sections. You can include more information to be shown by going to the properties, selecting that tool and going to its properties and enabling wall area. So when you look here at the document, you now have wall area equals to 201. We'll change the dimensions to square meters. No, we don't need square feet. Change the dimensions to square meters. So we have that as square meters. Now we are going to add this tool to our tool chest by right-clicking, add to tool chest, so that we can reuse the tool whenever we want. The tool is added to the tool chest. It's here. We need to change it to properties mode. Then we're going to duplicate it. We're going to duplicate it so that we create another tool that we shall use above the windows and above the doors. Right click, duplicate. We have this second one. We'll change its name. If we click here and we choose details, we can see they all have similar names. So we'll double click here and change this to walls over door. Then walls over door, we can go back to the details symbol level. This is walls over door, but then we need to change its properties. To change its properties, we'll go to its properties. We can change the line type. If you want, you can change the line type and the color. Let's go with the blue. Then we go to measurements, and then we'll need to change its depth. Now here what we'll use, it's if the wall is 3 meters, we take off the door, which is 2.4. Then we take off the ring beam, which is 2. We have 370. So we'll put here the depth as 370. Walls over door, 370. Then when we're done with that, we go back to our tools chest, change it to properties mode, select it, then we can draw our takeoff over the draw. Click the first point and the second point. Press enter. So now we have this takeoff which subtracts the door area. You can likewise you can move the dimensions to an appropriate place. Exit, hold shift, click on the dimension, extend it. You can see walls over door, the length and the wall area all indicated. So now we'll duplicate these walls over door, then we create another tool for the walls. We'll call it maybe we'll call it wall above window. Duplicate, go to details, walls over door, walls over window. Don't mind about the length, you can call it whatever you want, just for purposes of clarity. Then this same one will also edit its properties. This is wall over window. When you go to measurements, we need to change this depth. Let's pick our calculator. So if the wall is 3 meters high minus the window is 1.5 meters, minus the ring beam. Then we have 1.270. Input 1.270 millimeters. Then we can as well change the color to say green. So when we go to our tool chest, we load this tool, which is, this is now walls over window. When you come to the window area, you zoom in, click the first place and then the second place. Press enter, zoom out. So you have that tool also working well. Then now we could go ahead like that and take further measurements for more places. By, for instance, let's get back to our walls, the original one, and let's say you want the length of this area. Zoom in from here, exit that, zoom in, load our tool, then this point to this point, zoom out, zoom in to this point, to this point. Press enter. So now you have the overall length for this, this particular room. When you come here to our markup list, you can see we have label, length, and wall area. The length, this is like the perimeter, the entire length of that room, including the area of the door and the area of the window. Then the wall area is the area considering the depth. The depth is the height of the wall. So now from here, we can now start considering what we can do in order to calculate the quantities of bricks, cement, and sand. When we come to markup list and click this little arrow at the side, go to columns and go to manage columns. We'll go to custom columns. Under custom columns, the first column we will want to add is the volume of the wall. The volume of the wall. So add. There are types that you can choose from. There's checkmark, choice, date, formula, number, text. In this case, we need a formula column. We'll call it volume of wall. Volume of wall. The expression we'll have here, we choose formula, then we come to the expression. Under the expression, we shall use the wall area. The wall area we shall multiply by the thickness of the wall to get the volume of the wall. So here we'll type wall area is down here. Wall area multiplied by the thickness of the wall. If it's a stretcher, assuming it's a stretcher wall, let's use a 150 millimeter wall. So we input 0.15. The decimal places you can increase. Let's stick to 2 decimal places. Include totals. Okay, press OK. Okay. So now we have a new column which has the overall volume. This is the totals. The upper ones here, these are the totals. With the volume of the wall done, we can now calculate the number of bricks needed. There we'll go back to the markup list, go to columns, manage columns, custom columns, add. We are adding a custom column. We call it number of bricks. This will be a formula type. Then in the expression, we shall enter the following expressions. That would be the volume of the wall divided by the volume of one brick, including the mortar. So volume of wall divided by into brackets the volume of one brick plus mortar. You can enter in your desired dimensions for your desired brick, but in this case we shall use a 9-inch brick with a height of 70 millimeters and mortar bond of 25 millimeters. So that gives us effective length of 95 millimeters by 255 millimeters. So enter that. That is, as we are using meters here, 0.255 times 0.095 times the thickness of the wall, which is 0.15. That's if we are using a stretcher wall. Then we close the bracket. This should give us the number of bricks needed when you press OK and OK. So here we have 1345. With the number of bricks done, we need to now calculate quantities for cement. To calculate the quantities for cement, we'll go to markup list, columns, manage columns, custom columns. Then we add a new custom column. We'll add a new column and call it volume of mortar. Volume of mortar. This is our formula. The expression will be volume of mortar will be the volume of wall, the volume of the wall minus the number of bricks. The volume of mortar will be volume of wall minus number of bricks multiplied by the volume of brick minus the mortar. The volume of brick minus the mortar, if we check from this column, from this picture, we will see the length is 9 inches, that is 230 millimeters, and 70 millimeters for the height. So we put that here, 0.23 multiplied by 0.07 multiplied by 0.150 for the thickness of the wall, assuming that's the wall thickness we are going by. Then we press OK, and here we have the volume of mortar, the wet. This is the wet volume of mortar. We can edit this to wet volume of mortar. Come back here, manage column, edit this to wet volume, modify. Let's have this as wet volume of mortar. Then that's okay. We now have the wet volume of mortar. We need to add the dry volume of mortar. We go to markup list, columns, manage columns, custom columns, add, type dry volume of mortar. This is also a formula type. The expression is just the wet volume multiplied by a constant 1.33 to take in account of the voids, that's making it dry volume of mortar. Press OK. You can increase the precision if need be. OK. Now you have the dry volume as 2.16. We can now bring in the ratios. The ratios, we go to custom markup list, manage columns, custom columns, add. We'll put here mortar ratio. Mortar ratio, that one will go by choice type, since we'll have different choices to choose from. So here we shall add say 1, 2, 3. Subject will be wall length, wall length, wall length, wall length to tie it to this particular subject, wall length, wall length. Then assign a custom value. We'll assign the total of the ratio, which will be 4. So we have that. Let me copy this to the clipboard. Okay, we add another one. This will be 1 to 4. Subject wall length. Assign a custom value. This will be 5. And this will be our default. Then we add the last one, which will be 1 to 5. Paste wall length, assign a custom value. This will be 6. Okay, so now we have our motor ratio in place. Okay, the motor ratio is now in place, where you can choose between different ratios that you might want. Our default is 1 to 4. That's what we'll stick to. That's what we shall use. Now we have dry volume. Now we need the volume of cement. Volume of cement, back to custom, back to markup list. We go to columns, manage columns, custom columns, and then we add volume of cement, volume of cement. This will be formula, volume of cement. The volume of cement will be the dry volume, multiplied by the ratio of cement over the total ratio. The ratio of cement is 1, then the total ratio is 5. So basically we shall just put dry volume divide by motor ratio, because we had already set the motor ratio to the value of the sum of the total ratios. Then we press OK. That will be volume of cement. Press OK. That is the volume of cement. Now volume of cement. Next we'll need bags of cement. Bags of cement. Go to markup list, manage columns, custom columns, add bags of cement. This is a formula. The expression will be the volume of cement multiplied by the density of cement. We have it as 1440. Press 1440. Okay, this first expression gives us the weight of cement. But the weight of cement, in order to save time, for us to get the bags of cement, we'll divide the weight of cement by 50, which is the weight of 1 bag of cement, to give us the number of bags. Press OK. And then here we have 12.38 bags. We can always round it off later in Excel. Now we have bags of cement. So now we need volume of sand. Volume of sand, we'll go back to columns, manage columns, custom columns, add. We type volume of sand. This is formula, volume of sand, dry volume dry volume of mortar, for us to get the dry volume of mortar times the volume of sand, volume of sand will have this expression, dry volume of mortar multiplied by its ratio. The ratio is 4 parts. There are 4 parts, 4 divided by the total ratio. In this case, we shall use the mortar ratio because we have already set the value of mortar ratio to the sum of the ratios. Dry volume of mortar times the ratio of sand over mortar ratio. Press OK. OK. You have the volume of sand as 1.74. We will then proceed to determine the value of sand in kilograms by going to the markup list, columns, manage columns, custom columns. Then we introduce a new custom column, sand in kgs. That will also be a formula type, and then we put volume of sand as the expression, volume of sand multiplied by the density of sand, we shall use 1600. Press OK. And there we are, we have 2784 kgs. Okay, now that we have the value for the sand in kgs, you can proceed with your material takeoff, and the values will update accordingly from the menus below. Let's go to the tools chest, choose the first tool, zoom out, choose a new wall that you want to perform the material takeoff, zoom in, choose the first point, second point, third point, last point. Press enter. You can choose the one over the window. Come to your tool chest, my tool chest, wall over door, wall over window. Choose that one, first point, second point. Press enter or double click, choose the first one, this point, that point. Press enter, go to the one over a particular door. The one for door, we have the blue over door. Choose this point to this point. Press enter or double click, and when you look below, you can see that the values update accordingly automatically. Now you can see the kilograms are increasing. The number of bricks is also increasing as the bags of cement are increasing. In this way, you can see that using Bluebeam, you can easily accelerate your workflow more than someone using Excel.